boy, knocking and stalking, hell is hot till my speakers pop. I ain't never wanna lead the block. Lord knows that I need the guap. I'm clocked in the graveyard shit.
What's up, guys? It's your boy Mike Ultra. I'm here with my cousine Danny Esquire, and this is the Pretty Foolish podcast. What's going on, bro?
What's up, man? How's things?
Getting over this upper respiratory infection slash sinus infection. You can hear it in my voice. I sound like I spent a night in prison on my knees.
You know, that's what they called COVID before it was COVID. It was just a standalone upper respiratory infection. But I'm glad your upper respiratory system is fighting off infection.
I got to tell you, they give you a COVID test. Like the girl went so far up my nose, I felt her tickling my childhood memories.
Ooh,
And I got to be honest, I said that to her, and I forgot the word memories. I said, I feel you tickling my childhood. And I really think she thought I said manhood because she looked at me like she just wanted to me too me all over the place. And that's not what I said.
There's lines. There's several lines, in fact, that were just crossed aggressively.
Yeah, she skull fucked me.
Yeah.
And the best part about it is that on the diagnosis, they tell you, it goes, your COVID test came back negative. But then on the diagnosis, it says suspected exposure to COVID-19.
Huh.
So if I'm negative, then how would you suspect I was exposed? I mean, I guess anytime I go outside and interact with the general public, I could be exposing myself to anything. I mean,
Remember
why
when,
not
like,
say exposure to HIV? Like I could be
I
meeting
mean,
an AIDS patient right now.
I'm actually shocked you're fucking not one. Remember when like false positives were a thing? It's like I'm
Oh
positive,
yeah,
but it's fake. We know it's fake, but I still need to take 10 days off because the
I
test came
missed
back
that.
positive.
Exposure to HIV. Like I could be meeting an AIDS patient right now.
I'm actually shocked you're fucking not one. Remember when like false positives were a thing? It's like I'm
Oh
positive,
yeah,
but it's fake. We know it's fake, but I still need to take 10 days off because the
I
test came
missed
back
that.
positive. False
The two
positive.
things I miss about the pandemic were sitting home getting a $900 paycheck a week to like literally jerk off, and anytime you just like wanted to get out of work and you were like, oh shit, there's a Yankee game. I got COVID. Cool. Now you can go to Yankee games all week because you have 10 days off. Paid.
Bro, they were fucking, it was like, it was a guarantee. Like the second you like sneeze the wrong way, it was like, yo, here's your 10 days. Just don't come back. Like it definitely changed like the ethics of being sick at work. Like the second you were in any way like under some type of symptom, you were like, just go the fuck home. Like get the fuck out of here. Like we can't risk you running it up for us.
Do you ever watch Real Time with sorry, yeah, Real Time. Real Time with Bill Maher on HBO?
The adult Doug Funny, I've watched highlight clips. I've actually
Bro,
seen
I
a split
was
screen of him and Doug Funny. He is the
they
adult Doug
look
Funny.
exactly alike. They are the same person.
Nah, he's a smart dude. I've never watched the show though. I've watched highlight reels.
He gets a lot of shit for being like a liberal, but he's like not like a super fucking like super lefty liberal. But I was watching the other night and he was saying how America like reacted like overreacted to like COVID and all this stuff and like all that stuff aside, he was saying that one of like the major like things was like ventilate like well ventilation in buildings, like well done ventilation
Mhm.
to like get like air in and out and like recycling air and like cleansing air. He's
Mhm.
like nobody's like retrofitting. He said we did all this shit with government regulations for like vaccines and everything. Goes nobody's ever done anything to like make buildings like retrofit and like put in new better ventilation systems to like help the spread of disease. And he was like, nor has anybody did it where they're like housing animals that we eat. They're still like disgusting conditions that they're still hot and everything, and they're like basically breeding grounds for bacteria. And he's like the bird flu got to a goat. He's like in those conditions, like species jumping from viruses like increases exponentially. He's like the
Mhm.
bird flu should not be in a goat. Like there should be government regulation on like ventilation and stuff like that, where places where like
But
slaughterhouses and shit like is.
does that mean
He's
we
like it's
should
just
never
another
get,
pandemic waiting to happen.
does that mean that we as human
Pardon
beings
me.
shouldn't get bird flu or swine flu? Like were we never intended like to
It's
have
not
those?
supposed to jump species, and it does happen in the right conditions, like diseases. But apparently there's a way to like combat it, and we just don't because it's money. The profit margin is like, all right, we're not going to put like all new ventilation systems in place and like regulations, so we'll just take our chances, and then that's how pandemics
You know,
happen.
it's fucked up. Like, I don't usually
Weird.
take a stance on politics. Like, it's a safer bet
No,
not
me
to.
neither.
But like, I remember distinctly, like in retrospect, we look back at COVID now and say we might have had a slight overreaction because it's been 4 years and it's fair. Like hindsight's always 2020, which is weird because that 2020 was the year we're speaking about. But like,
Mhm.
I remember a lot of people talking a lot of shit about the president at the time severely underreacting before he made a decision to shut everything down and have stimulus checks and all this shit.
Well, that's the weird thing, dude. It's like we had like no plan for some shit like this to happen. So it's like overreaction is going to happen because it's human nature. And at the core of it, I really do think that at the core of what happened, I think people wanted to do the right thing to protect the citizens. But as much as I think that was something that was wanted to be done, I think that as soon as you have another immediate thought, it's money, and money
Yeah.
plays a big thing. It's like, oh, let's help everybody, but wait, how can we help everybody and make money? And like, because our whole system is based on money, so like, we'll just like fucking collapse if there's no money, clearly. So
Like I've
it's
I've
really
started
hard to
to
like,
realize that like there's a lot of shit we don't have a plan for. Like if you think about it, like I'll just take your upper respiratory infection right now. Like
mhm,
one, there's nothing preventative you can do to stop that from happening. Like you can only take
right.
medicine once you're already sick. Second thing is once COVID launched, like you'd think the world would have at least some moderate preparation for being proactive against a virus that is suddenly just fucking catching fire. Then you have the recent fucking cell phone disaster that fucking happened to us. And you realize that like at the end of the day, like we could fix the problem quickly, maybe, but like we have nothing that stops problems from actually fucking happening. It does
No,
like
and it's like you need to build up immunity to any disease, and like coddling your children actually hurts their fucking immune system later on in life. And it's like, you want to protect people from dying from this new disease no one's ever had. But at the same time, it's like keeping everybody home and closed and shutting everything down probably wasn't, for as long as they did, probably wasn't the answer either. It's like no matter what you do, you're fucked, and you always have to choose like a lesser of two evils. And it's like, hopefully, the only thing I can hope for from this pandemic was that somebody like sat down and wrote a plan and was like, all right, this is what we did. This was kind of good. This was really not good. And if it ever happens again, let's improve upon it instead of repeating it. Because you can't do nothing. Then you can't OD either and do everything. Like there has to be like, you're not gonna please everyone. You can't, no
never.
matter what. Like,
I
dude,
think
you can bring
politics
like,
proves you can't fucking please everyone.
dude, you could bring a pizza. Most people love pizza. You could bring a pizza to like a lunch, and somebody will be like, "I have a dairy allergy. I don't like pizza. I can't eat
I
red sauce.
fucking hate gluten. I have
I'm
celiac.
vegan." Like, yeah, you can't please everybody, even on that most basic of level. So to do something globally is like, it's a no. It's the Kobayashi Maru, bro. There's no fucking way to win it. You just have to maintain it. And
I like how
we
you
did a
just
lot of good
casually
things,
dropped
and
A Star Trek reference. Like nobody like that's a
it
Star Trek
is. I
reference
use
for
it a lot.
anybody that doesn't know the
Yes, the
Kobayashi.
Kobayashi Maru is a test that Starfleet captains have to go through, which basically puts you in a no-win scenario. There's no way to come out on top. It's just to see how you manage the situation and what you would do in a crisis situation. And there's not meant to be a clear winner. Captain Kirk won because he cheated,
He
but
didn't cheat. He changed the rules of the game.
that's cheating,
He found a way to win.
right?
He
And
argued a no-win
unfortunately,
scenario is not an actuality because you could run, change the rules, whatever.
but I feel like that's what the pandemic was for a lot of things. And it's like, like I said, did a lot of things good, did a lot of things bad.
Speaking
Hopefully,
of catastrophes,
yeah,
I don't think you experienced this fun, but like we had an
I did
earthquake here
not.
the other day.
I heard.
It
I've heard
was,
conflicting stories. I've heard people like house was shaking for like 30 seconds. They were shit scared. Other people were like had no idea what happened.
bro, I saw a really fucking hilarious TikTok that was like somebody was like, "We will rebuild," and it was a fucking parking cone that had toppled over.
And I saw the same thing with a patio chair.
Yeah, oh my
It
God.
was
Like
perfect.
it's funny because I'm in New Jersey, like I'm sitting at a desk, which you know, ironically enough, is one of the safest places, either door frame or under a desk. You don't remember that, but like literally, I start feeling like everything fucking vibrate, and I'm like, oh, I guess they're doing construction next door. But then I'm like, everything's vibrating. Like it's not just like the floor or the ceiling. Like everything is moving right now.
You left your solar
Yeah.
powered dildo plugged in on the
Yeah.
floor.
That's gonna be fucked up during the eclipse. I got to make sure I charge it on spare battery. But
No, imagine if it overcharges and explodes right inside you.
or like it does like from fucking Avengers, it has like 400% of power because it fucking
Oh, it's Ultron.
yeah, bro. Nah, but you know
That's
what's
amazing.
crazy about an earthquake? There's a sound. It has a sound. It literally
Really? What
sounds
kind of
like
sound?
grinding.
Really?
Yeah, dude, it's fucking weird, man.
I
And
wish it
like
was
there's
like a
been like
sonic boom from Street Fighter.
I used to watch YouTube videos on fucking jets doing sonic booms because it fucking blows my mind that we could break a sound barrier. We can't break a light barrier. I follow enough Instagram reels on space to know that like the only time that that could feasibly be possible is inside of a black hole.
Dude, I every so often I go down the black hole of
Black
like
holes?
space. Yeah, basically,
Yeah.
and I just pretend that I have like any kind of like understanding of like quantum physics. I just read it and I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw a thing yesterday. I think I sent it to you on Instagram. It said a coin-sized black hole if it like appeared on Earth, and it was just like a video, and it was just like sucking the Earth into it. Like the video didn't say if like the whole Earth would be swallowed up into it, but
It probably will
let's
be.
just say it would be catastrophic. Coin size. That's how
Bro,
much the gravitational pull is.
do you want to hear something really fucked up? If the sun exploded, you wouldn't know for 8 minutes
It's that far away.
because it takes 8 minutes to get here. But here's an either fucking crazier fact. This is where time is
It would
completely
instantly
fucking
freeze.
no, this is where time is really ruined for me. If you had an ultra fucking powerful telescope, right? And we were 65 million light years away from a planet that looked at us, and they looked through this microscope, this lens, they
They
would
would see the
still
past.
they'd see dinosaurs.
Yes.
Like dinosaurs would actually still be roaming, and we don't exist yet.
Yeah.
Like every star in the
Time
sky,
dilation.
yeah, every star in the sky you're seeing as it was for the amount of time it took to get here.
Yes.
Like what the fuck? Like, bro.
Dude, I can't wrap my mind around how something could just be infinite. Like, okay, really quick.
Oh
Here's
fuck.
the mind fuck. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So,
Okay.
okay. They fuck you with the universe. No, bro, so nothing can't exist. Like that's like like physics. Like you like in my head, there's nothing. Like nothing, like there's nothing here, see?
Yes.
So that means that something or someone created this infinite universe. But that means something would have had to exist before that universe to create it. So
Yes.
how can nothing just all of a sudden exist? Like I can't look out my window in a blank parking space and be like, Corvette. Like, you know what I mean? Like there has to be like from somewhere, someone has to come and build it. So it's like, how is that possible? And then what was before it? Like what existed in this nothingness? Nothing. Like how does nothing I don't know how to put it into words. I'm not smart enough.
I don't think a Big Bang, like, even if you like the Big Bang is real, like, the universe is growing, right? And there's like, I've seen some like size comparisons. Like, I was looking at Rebecca yesterday and I was like, you know, in the grand scheme of universe, we're smaller than cells in our body. Like,
Grains of sand.
we're, bro, we're infinitesimally smaller. Like, the biggest fucking black hole, right? I looked at the comparison. It's called fucking, I think it's either Ton or Phoenix. I forgot which one is actually bigger. But like the entire solar system is like this. Our entire fucking solar system is this in the fucking
And that's compared to what we know. That's even smaller once you because do you get to the end of the universe and it just slingshots you back around?
well,
Like
the
that's one
universe is
theory.
growing. Let that fucking
Oh
sink.
yeah. I was actually very frightened for you for a second. Like very frightened for you. Because you started a sentence with I was doing a size comparison and then immediately mentioned your girlfriend's name. You were treading water with that sentence.
I have her speak affirmations into my ear so I don't have to worry about things like that.
That could have went very wrong for you if you misspoke.
I mean, I
Very
have a
wrong.
solar powered fucking dildo to solve all my problems if it goes left.
And that's really what she's doing the size comparison against.
No, that I lose.
Yeah,
Lost.
of course. You're
Lost and
fucking
sauce.
useless. We are useless. If we didn't have sperm, we'd be completely useless.
Yo, do you want to hear another fucking fun comparison?
Sure.
There are, this is gonna fucking get ready for your fucking face to blow off.
Mm, can't wait.
There are like seven, I think the number is like there's an estimated 15 quadrillion grains of sand on
How
the
did we
earth.
know that?
On the earth. It's
Somebody
estimated.
counted? Like, how does someone know?
I mean, you take a fucking square inch and times it by how many square inches of sand there are. I don't fucking know. However, for every grain of sand on the planet, there are over 1 million fucking planets in the universe.
Really? I
Yes.
heard something similar about like insects. It was like ants or something like that. That like for like every like there's like quadrillions of them, and there's like something like 250,000 per like one person on Earth or some shit like that.
Bro, did you ever hear the theory about the ant mega colony?
No, I heard the one about spiders. But
So supposedly ants can recognize ants from familiar colonies.
Mhm.
So they had an ant from Europe and one from Asia that recognized each other.
Really, we can
Bro,
learn a lot from the ants. They don't see color or race.
do you realize like have you ever seen like those videos online of like where they like pour like aluminum or something metallic to harden inside like an ant colony and then unearth it and see how big these fucking things are and what they've built? If
Oh yeah,
octopi
dude.
are fucking aliens, so are ants.
I agree. Yeah, yeah. It's like when they pour the metal down them, and then you see
Yeah,
what they look like.
bro, these are
Crazy.
I
Yeah.
couldn't fucking build that. And these things are a fucking millionth of my size. They could
I
also
wonder
like
how you measure their intelligence because they're fucking smart, dude. They're probably smarter than a lot of people I run into on a regular basis.
I fucking wouldn't be surprised at all. Bro,
Um, you ever heard the one about spiders? That if spiders collectively got together and decided to eat humans, that there's so many of them that they could probably devour the entire human race in under 2 years?
huh, we really live on the cusp of danger at all times.
Bro, they without insects, this planet would be inhabitable without like spiders and like certain insects and shit.
But yeah, I mean it's the fucking balance of nature. Like that's why you have super predators. Like a spider is essentially like they're at the end of the day, they're not really them and like centipedes aren't really bad for your house because they eat the other shit and
Right.
they kind of leave you alone.
Dude, it's crazy. Like, I'm not a religious person at all, but bro, this shit is so intricate. Like, how is it not like sat down and designed? Like, I'm watching the new season of Discovery, Star Trek, and they're looking for
How
like
is that?
honestly, like it's not bad. Like it's pretty good. Like it's only the first or second episode that aired, but they're going back to like a Picard episode of like Next Generation where he like comes in contact with like the people who basically created all um humanoid life in the galaxy, and they're looking for them for their technology.
Bro,
I forget what the hell the progenitors they're called or some shit like that.
can I ask you an honest question about Star Trek?
But do you think that's more possible than like God, than like a race of like beings like
Yes.
were kind of humanoid, and then they wanted more humanoid things, and then there are other planets where like they have like giant spider looking things and giant
It's like
grasshopper looking things and incomprehensible things we can't even bend our mind around because we've never seen anything like it.
yeah, I do. Like that fucking weird disc that like about faced inside of our galaxy, inside of our solar system. Remember that like disc
Yeah, I remember
shaped
hearing about
thing?
that.
They gave it some
Yeah.
fucking weird Hawaiian name. I don't remember what it was like Olamayu or something. But like it literally fucking did an about face against like gravity's pull.
Hmm.
Nobody knows why, how, what. Yeah, so
Interesting.
question about fucking Star Trek, because I've always had a very fucking strong opinion about what I'm about to tell you. So I think for the progression of what like we grew up with Next Generation, that was like our dad's version of Star Trek,
The
and then
perfect show.
It was really good. Voyager was our version. Deep Space Nine falls somewhere in the middle. I'm more of a Voyager fan. I think Voyager was the best one. Sorry.
I really like. I'm partial to Deep Space Nine, but I need to rewatch it.
Oh, I tried. I couldn't do it. But here's the thing. I liked Voyager because it went to a fucking place where Klingons didn't exist. Like you had the Borg, you had like species A472, like you had all these fucking cool new aliens. Like I didn't have to worry about a Cardassian or anything, right?
Right.
So when Voyager ended, everything beyond Voyager went back to like Kirk's time or pre-Kirk's time. Why didn't they
Hmm.
just do like 29th century Star Trek or Andromeda Star Trek? Like go to it, like have an opportunity instead of telling the same stories or versions of the stories with the same fucking aliens we know about, give us a new breed of alien. Especially
Well, I
with the
mean,
way
it could.
CGI is now, they could have like did so much with it because
Well, I
it's
mean,
stupid.
it might have to do with where the Federation is. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a Federation story. If the
But the problem
Federation's
is
not out there,
as technology gets better for us now, the technology that we're portraying, which was old in that universe, looks better.
right?
So like obvious, like just fucking go forward. Like, hey, this is 29th century Star Trek now. Like they dealt with
They
it
were
in
actually
the
talking
'79.
about that with the new Alien movie. Is that they want to do the technology that looks like it did in the '70s and '80s, so it doesn't look like it's more advanced when it's supposed to take place. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
You know who did a really good job with that?
oh, what's up?
Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah,
They did a
I
really good
agree.
job with this like analog technology update.
I agree.
He's
I
making
agree.
Dune 3. It's official.
Yeah. Well, there was no doubt.
I mean,
I
there
don't
was
care what
zero
he or
fucking doubt.
anybody
He
else
signed
says.
on, but like now it's real. Like it's actually fucking happening.
Yeah, there was no doubt. I don't care what anybody says. There's no way you're going to leave that story. Number one, with the money it's making, and number two, with the story left in limbo. There's no way.
Villeneuve is my fucking hero.
Is he?
He is.
Oh
He
my
deserves to
God,
be
it's
a
fucking
hero.
cool.
He's got to be somebody's hero.
I'm sure he's somebody's hero.
I just said he's fucking mine.
Yeah, but I'm saying, other than you, I'm sure you're not. I'm sure you're not the only one. But
Bro,
yeah, dude, I don't know, man. I really want to believe that everything is not just an accident. I don't know. Like
I
it's
want to know
way too
what's.
intricately designed, bro. It's crazy. Like I don't even smoke weed anymore. I still be having these like weed thoughts.
Do you ever think we're gonna know what's inside of a black hole? Like we'll ever actually know what a singularity looks like?
I think we will need a alien race to show us a different side of physics because I think that the physics that we have or the math that we have is like not the correct math to understand it.
Do you know they? Who the fuck said this? I forgot what it was said. It was like this is what really fucking frustrates me, and I like this is like a paradox of my fucking brain. And it's like
Oh, I love it.
we assume that we're intellectual enough to have a conversation that aliens could in fact speak to us if they needed to. But can you talk to an orca?
No,
No. They're
you
by
cannot.
far and away the most genius fucking animal on the planet that's not a human being, and we can't have a conversation with them. We just
Yeah,
they
you would think someone would have developed something like that to talk to animals.
I mean they
Yeah, I agree
clearly
with
have
you.
dialects. Like it's been proven that whales have dialects.
Yes, I've
So
heard
like
that.
they obviously have communication and speech pattern. Like why don't we have a way to like
I
how
guess
did
we don't have
they
a basis for it.
but how did they figure it out? Like we have like syntax and like there's rules, like even though like English is a stupid fucking language, but there's
Right.
rules to it. How did they create it when there's no fucking rules? Is it
Like they
like
have like those
hieroglyphics for
schools and
them?
shit.
Yeah, I
Is
guess
it
it's
like
just
just like something that well, it's like how does a newborn baby giraffe like seconds after it comes out of its mom's vagina know how to walk when we have to like physically like, learn?
yeah,
It
elephants
might have to
too.
do with lifespan.
Yeah, elephants can walk almost immediately out of the womb. It's crazy.
It is pretty fucking wild.
Are you
It
looking
is
up
pretty
black
fucking
holes? I
wild.
feel like you're looking up something and you're slightly distracted.
Um, no, I'm not. I'm just trying to send our message to our guest. We have a guest coming up today.
I've heard. I'm excited about this one.
Yeah, so we have a good buddy of mine I've known for I think you know him too in passing, but I've known him for a super long time back to high school. His name's Frank Pimentel. I like to call him a New York real estate mogul. He owns his own brokerage. He's been in the real estate game for a long time, and he's going to educate us on some real estate stuff.
I think it's. I
Anybody
mean,
out there?
I think it fits. There's a lot going on about like real estate right now and like pricing and borrowing and fucking the real estate commissions and shit. And I think people really should kind of have an idea of like if you're looking to buy something as like an investment or buy something as a first time property, like I think there's a lot of good information on there. And like just because we can make dick and fart jokes can't mean we can't educate people on the way things work.
And next week we're gonna have a segment that we're gonna talk about on car buying, car leasing too,
All right, Paul.
because I am in the market for a second car. So you know me, I've been doing my research. I always do my research, but
You are a wildly intellectual human being when it comes to like car buying strategy. Like you've done more work to buy a car than I think I ever have. So I respect you for that.
I
I want you to
appreciate it.
know
I wish
it's a
there was a
minimal
way.
amount of respect, but there's some there.
I mean, listen, you got to start somewhere. I mean, I wish there was a way I could monetize certain things that I do. Like, is there a way to like start like a service where I'm like, I do the things that you don't want to do. Like you hire me to like research cars and find you like the best possible payment option, like the best possible option for you and your family based on parameters you give me, or like for like shopping for like men's clothes or sneakers or like just I don't know.
The internet marketer inside of me says very simply create an online course that teaches people how to do that shit for themselves. Like this is criteria, these are templates, these are how you grade, what your money looks like. Yeah,
Hmm.
you can put that together.
Yeah, we're gonna have to talk about that off camera. Maybe I'll have like my own YouTube channel where I talk about shit like that.
You should. You should. I mean, I've been doing my own YouTube now for a while, and I like it's weird. I'm like I was really having a fucking hard time because like obviously like we do our thing on Sundays, but like I film like a little more content because it's a lot more like not short form but shorter. Like nothing I put out's really like an hour. It's usually at like a 15-minute cap. So like the way I was going about it was every Saturday I would force myself to have to record like 8 or 10 videos. And it was like fucking
Right.
me up because if I was like dry on ideas, even if I had the whole week and I was like, yo, these fucking ideas are the best, I would still sometimes hit the camera and be like, shit, I got nothing. So now instead of doing that, I do one a day. And
Well,
now
that's
I
my worry.
challenge
My worry
myself
is
to
I
do
won't have
that.
enough content.
You'll figure it out. Like my challenge to myself now is I want to do 100 straight days of posting. I'm on like
But
day
how do you
10.
have 100 different things to talk about?
It's not really 100 different things. It's more like 100 different ways to talk about the same thing.
Hmm.
So like right now, like the thing that I'm building is like really about consulting, like figuring out like the new wave of like how like sales reps and sales culture works. I could fucking talk about that shit for fucking ever. Like there's so many different nuances that like you bring into it. Like if your boss is an asshole, like are you an asshole? Like how do you take feedback? Like what ways are there to give feedback? Like how do you solve a problem? How can you generate more money? Like how do you pivot inside a business? Like all these things are relevant factors like that are kind of in that fucking umbrella of like we have a bottleneck in our business. How the fuck do we solve this?
I would really like to start doing like go to like car dealerships and like do like reviews of cars. I see a lot of those on YouTube and they always have a lot of hits and it's something that I know like a little bit about. I feel like I could be pretty good. Like
No.
I could have Ali film it.
I mean, the cool thing about like audience and brands is that like if you have a big enough brand and they find out like you're a big name in like Florida or like Tampa or wherever, like a dealership might actually like reach out to you and be like, "Hey, can you do a review on our dealership?"
Bro, do you know you ever watch Raiti's Rides?
I have not.
Raiti. He's based out here. He's like usually like in Clearwater. But this dude is everywhere. He's at like every fucking car convention. He's like at a dealership in Kentucky, a dealership in Arkansas, a dealership in California.
What does he
And
do?
he's like, so generally what he used to do before he got like big was like he'd go to like a local like Chevy dealer and he'd be like, this is the 2022 Chevy Malibu LT. Let's take a look inside. And he'd show you the car, the inside. He'd talk about the engine. He'd talk about the price point. He'd take you on a test drive. He'd be in the parking lot of the dealer. He'd shout out the dealer. He'd give like, the manager's name or whatever, like, oh, come see Kevin McNeil here at Clearwater Kia, whatever it is. And all those names and locations are made up, by the way. I just made that shit up for the sake of an example. Um, But yeah, but now he's like doing like fucking Lamborghini trucks. He's doing the Tesla Cybertruck. He was at the auto show in New York that's coming up in April. He goes there every year. He's in the one in Las Vegas, like, and all he does is him and his wife. Like she films it and whatever, unless he has like the camera set up in the car, and he just talks about the new models of cars and like I've seen him do concept cars. Like he's got like a few 100,000 followers on whatchamacallit. I'm trying to like get him on this show to talk to him. I don't know if he would, but
I
we'll
mean,
see.
fuck
I
it,
emailed
just
him.
spam him a bunch of times until he says yes.
Bro, you know who I was
Persistence, my
emailing
man.
with?
Who?
ET's mom, the great Dee Wallace, trying
Who?
to get her as a guest on our show.
ET's mom?
Yeah. From the
Like,
Frighteners, from the
oh,
Critters.
I
Yeah.
actually watched Critters the other day. I own the Critters. It's
Dude,
a great movie.
I've been on a kick. I watched 1 through 3. I have 4 left. I've been watching all of them on Tubi.
I love fucking Tubi, yo. Like, Tubi is
Tubi's the shit.
fucking ridiculously underrated for how good that fucking platform is. Like, bravo to them for fucking doing what they do. Because there's more shit I watch on there than I watch on fucking Netflix.
Oh, I agree.
Oh, we're 2 episodes left in Sopranos. So at some point
Okay.
next, yeah, by next week, I'm gonna have a full-blown fucking reaction. I want to record her in the final scene. I'm
You're
literally
only
gonna
20.
fucking sit
Do
there
it.
like, do it.
You guys are only 25 years late, but I mean, whatever.
I mean,
Wow, 25 years, dude. Jesus freaking Christmas. But all right, no, going back to that thing though, do you think if I like went called like some dealership to like film a video, you think they'd tell me to fuck off because like I'm a nobody?
I
Or
mean,
like do you think I kind of like film it like stealthy? Like I'm not doing anything illegal.
I would probably tell them that, yo, like I'm an up and coming fucking YouTuber. Like I have a small following, really looking to fucking like get this shit going with, doing YouTubes on cars, like whatever. I'd love to
Hmm.
free promote your dealership in the process. And just be like, yo, like
Yeah.
I filmed courtesy of fucking Ford of Florida.
Yeah. All right, you know what? Maybe I will reach out and start doing that shit.
You should. Fuck it.
I think I will. You never know.
You don't
Could be
lose. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, my man.
they fucking tell me, dude. That's what they fucking tell me.
Fucking Gretzky
Um,
said it best.
I'm going to see Ghostbusters tonight.
Dude, not for nothing. Great call. There is more movies in the movie theater right now that I want to watch, and I honestly believe has collectively been in a theater since 2019.
I am dying to go see the movie with David Dalmatian, I think his name is, where it's in the 70s and he's like a late night talk show host and they get like a possessed girl on.
Is that Monkey Man? Oh,
No, it's like the devil something. I forget what it's called. Fuck. But it's gonna be on Shutter this month. And I'll give you my password if you want to watch it.
fuck yeah, I
But
did.
that's why I haven't gotten to see it in the theater. But yeah, Ghostbusters tonight. Monkey Man, I've heard it was dope, and then I heard it was fucking whack.
Well, they
So
got the
I'll wait for
first Omen
streaming.
is out, which I'm interested in. Kong and
That's supposed to be great. The
yeah,
first
the first
Omen.
Omen is probably dope. Kong and Godzilla will be on HBO Max in 14 minutes, so like I'm not even fucking concerned about seeing
It's
that.
crushing at the box office though, bro.
But yo, honestly, like anything that has to do with Warner Brothers and Max and like that whole fucking relationship just
Fuck
immediately
them.
fucking winds up on Max.
Yeah, dude. They're being investigated by the federal government
For what?
because they keep making these movies and then dumping them and collecting the tax credits on them. The government stepping in, like, bro, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like a bunch of like, apparently some of their like higher ups are like amidst an investigation or like stepping down. Yeah, it's fucking. I don't know, man.
Harsh. What the fuck? What tax credits do you get for filming a movie and then putting it on a streaming platform? I didn't even know that
No,
was a
no, I'm
thing.
talking about like shoving it all together, like Batgirl and that Wile E. Coyote movie.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So they're basically
Yeah.
saying that like, oh, we took full losses on this, and they
Yes.
just write off the losses.
Right. When basically the only thing stopping them from releasing it is they're saying the quality isn't good. They go, we spent $70 million on this movie. It's not good. It's unreleasable.
You want to
And then
hear
they're going to claim a loss on it.
a fun tax fact?
Talk to me.
So you know how our former president, who will not be named, had to just post a $175 million bond,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Everybody forgets, like it's actually on Netflix. I think it's called Evil Money or Dirty Money or whatever. When he had the Taj Mahal in Atlantic City, he did the exact same thing. He
It's his
over,
MO, dude.
yeah, he overinflated it, but because it was the 80s and 90s or whatever the fuck year it was, he got to write off $900 million in losses and subsequently did not pay taxes for 20 years.
Apparently, he made like $5 billion off of his like Twitter clone wannabe.
Oh, Truth Social?
Mhm.
Yeah,
It went
that's
public.
if you I mean, wish I'd known. I would have put money in it because one thing about
Yeah,
his fans, man,
they
loyalty.
are. Dude, it's wild. I wish anybody liked me as much as complete strangers who have never met him like him.
I feel like the blur on my
It's
Zoom is like blocking out my tattoo because it like thinks it's a face. I don't fucking know. So weird.
is it a face?
It just got really like dark in here for some fucking weird reason.
Open a window, vampire man.
No, I'm moving in 7 days.
Oh,
I'm
how's that going?
it hasn't started. I cleaned out a fridge today.
Are you serious, dude?
We don't honestly, we don't really have a lot of shit. We
Well,
hired
you're a minimalist. I
we hired
mean,
2 people already. Yeah, I'm all about fucking simplicity. We hired 2 people already. I already have a cleaning person coming for the day after we move, so like the fucking whole apartment could be cleaned. So I mean, just can't wait. It's gonna
I
be a
got one
new.
for you.
So not next week, but the week after, I will be in the second bedroom, which is basically going to be a studio. So it's pretty dope.
Oh, a yoga studio?
Hot Pilates, hot yoga, hot yoga.
A jerk off station? I don't invite women down here. I have a jerk off station.
For
Um,
Christ's sakes, Peter.
dude, you know
Peter
what you should
Clavin.
do? Do you still write at all?
No.
Well, I have a short story for you. So here it is. You're welcome. A couple hires two people to do a move, and the movers hold them hostage because the address is linked to someone. Obviously, the moving company is a front for something else, and the address is linked to someone they have an issue with, but it's being sublet, and the people that are there right now
I have
moving
no idea.
out have no idea. Not the same people. There you go. Short story.
It's cool. It's very strange.
I wrote a short story. How to be like under like 5,000 words or something like that
Oh,
for like a
I think
contest.
we both did it. It was like the November. What the fuck
Yeah,
was it? It was no. It was the no. I don't know. It had a weird acronym, but I know what you're
I
talking
never
about because
found out about it.
I submitted to it too. I didn't win.
I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear anything. I don't even know about one.
Mine was about a fucking cult. What else would it be?
Mine was about a wedding DJ
You know what? I haven't checked.
whose ex gets mad, who's winds up inadvertently working his. He's not a wedding DJ, but he's working for a wedding DJ, like a friend of his, and the guy can't make it, so he's like, "Hey, can you go cover this wedding for me?" And it turns out to be his ex girlfriend's fucking wedding that he was like super depressed about, and he holds everybody hostage at the wedding.
That's
Was
fucking
mine.
interesting. I wonder if
I think that's a good story.
my fucking KDP account. I know I still get money from it.
I set up my new one, but I gotta really you gotta help me out with some of that. I need to put some stuff back on there.
You know what it is? I have at one point I went fucking crazy and berserk. I wrote 35 books in roughly a year. And a lot of them were published. I have about I think 12 I haven't
Hmm.
published, but one of them is
Wow.
yeah, I have one of them that finishes a so I basically had this I wrote this book. It was about a demon hunter
Yeah, I
named
remember.
Karina. Yeah. So I got 5 books in and I literally wrote to book 13. Like it's done. Her story is like finished. But I just think about how much it's literally gonna fucking cost to edit the remaining 8 fucking books. But like I'm so in love with the story that like
Hmm.
at some point I'll probably do it. Cause she's like
I
sick.
mean,
She's like the perfect cross
is
between
there a
like
way where maybe you can condense those into like a trilogy?
I mean, it would still because it goes based on word count, but the whole idea behind it, which I thought was really cool that nobody ever considers, is like I looked at like the final girl mentality, like girls that survived horror movies, because I think a really good take on it was Halloween 2 that Rob Zombie did because he continued
Yes.
a story and it was like, how do you deal with the psychological trauma? How do you deal with the scarring? So I figured if you're dealing with fucking demons, there's obviously going to be some fucking stressors associated with it.
Okay.
So she's
So plug
like,
these books, bro. Maybe people could look them up.
she's like partially drug addict, partially suicidal, partially psychotic.
Plug the book. Plug it.
I don't even remember the name of it. What's the name of it? Well,
Oh
my
my
fucking
goodness.
what the fuck is
Oh
my
my goodness.
I forgot my fucking author name, bro. It's been forever.
Ah, DM douchebag.
No. I think it was Blake King. I think that's the one I finally decided on.
Yeah. Was that it? I remember I used to like the DM Vandal, man. I think you should have stuck with that.
That
I'm
was
taking
when you
his fucking
created.
hat off.
So I'm wondering if there's some bias in there.
So of course his bias.
Yep.
I need a new Instagram name for like
Blake
my main
King.
Instagram.
Blake
Blake King?
Blake King.
Blade King?
Blake?
Who chooses Blake as a name, honestly?
I don't know.
Like
But I
nobody
have
would choose that as their name.
6 of the
Like what is
books.
this?
You know
Are
what's
you a
funny?
coke dealer in an 80s movie?
I actually wrote this series backwards. I wrote book 1, then I wrote 2,
Mhm.
3 to match up to book 1. As I got to
Right.
5, I realized I wanted the story to go different. So what I did was I then wrote a prequel to
Mhm.
set the stage for what the other ending is going to look like. And then I rewrote book 1, which was
Jeez, that's
very
a lot of
fucking,
time.
yeah. I literally entirely rewrote book 1 to now line up with how I want things to end. Like her fucking twin sister, like, how they became fucking possessed to start. Like, wild, wild shit. But it gets fucking crazy the further you go into the story.
Um, well, that's one thing I think you need to learn is how to leave well enough alone with something. If you have an idea and it's good and you like it,
You say
there's always going to be
Westwood?
things you can. There's always things that you can like tinker with and change, but doesn't mean it's actually improving it. That's what sequels are for, to retcon and flesh out.
Yeah, but I don't like it's hard to do that with the fucking book because it's once you change a certain variable of the book, every other book becomes a fucking problem.
Yeah, and also it means you have to reread your book. Not every author knows their
I
book
fucking
like
hate
back and
reading my
forth.
books. I actually don't really like reading as much as I used to. I have my fucking Audible is stacked
That's
with
not reading a
fucking
book.
with really good books. I don't give a fuck. It's still reading. It's absorbing knowledge that was written down on fucking paper.
Okay, fair enough. But I mean, still,
Let me get, my, let me get myself situated here.
get you situated. Can I text him this link or should I email it?
I mean, you could do whatever you want because once he clicks the button, it'll take him right to Zoom, and then he'll
There you
be
go.
all set.
I texted it to him. Yeah, you like the background, man. Fucking Tony Stark's house.
Is that before or after the Mandalorian? The Mandarin figured out where he was.
The Mandarin and Thanos. They destroyed that house twice.
I
Such good
feel like
movies.
you heard Ant-Man 4 got scrapped.
Yeah.
And you saw who's playing Silver Surfer now?
Dude, so they're using the female version. I love her. I low key like have like a thing for Ruth.
She's an interesting
Yeah.
one. She's a strange.
She's like not hot, but there's something hot about her. I don't know. I really like, and then she's a good actress too.
I think you
I
like
find her very, very pleasing in many ways.
I think you like the trailer mouth.
I do.
I think you do.
I don't
Because
know
she
shit
doesn't know
about
about
fuck.
fuck.
I love that. I fucking love that.
And then for fucking like I think 6 years, it was if you want to stop me, you're gonna have to fucking kill me. Like that literally was like her
Bro,
thing.
she won like 3 Emmys in a row or like 3 Golden Globes or some shit. Like, well deserved. She's a beast. She's in that commercial with George Clooney for the Nespresso.
She forgot about that.
That's how you know you've made it. You're in a commercial with the Clune.
All right. Hold on one sec, my man. I'm gonna step away for a minute. Hold the fort down.
Speak amongst yourselves.
And we're back.
Oh,
Like
how was that? How was that piss?
we should fucking have commercial breaks.
Dude, when we start fucking being somebody, we should.
I'm gonna start fucking plugging my fucking consulting company as like sponsored by.
Let's see if we can get sponsorship.
I'm sponsoring.
Dude, so weekly thing that pisses me off. I'm a restaurant lifer, still working in the hospitality industry, but I overheard somebody the other day do one of those. We need a server. We need a bartender. Oh, right now we're ready. Oh, we need. Oh. And then the server went over there and they were like, "Gee, they haven't even looked at the menu." It's like you just went ape shit banana sandwich because we're ready. We need to order right now. And then you called somebody over and then literally had the audacity to say, "I haven't even looked at the menu," and had them standing there when they were pulled away from a conversation with somebody else.
I
That
love when
was,
people turn the light on to look at the menu. Those are my fucking favorites. It's like, it's so dark in here. Or the ones that are like, can you turn down the AC? It's like, do me a favor, walk back in the kitchen for 4 minutes and tell me how cold you still are. Like those hot plates are like 120 degrees. I'm cooking.
the best thing about those people is if you tell them from all my years doing management, I would be like, "Give me 1 second," and I would like 5 6 minutes later, I'd walk by, I'd be like, "I lowered it down. It just takes a little while to cycle through because it's a big place." And then you'll check on them in like 20 minutes. I'm like, "Yeah, it's great. You didn't even touch the fucking thermostat once at
Dude,
all."
people just,
Power suggestion.
they assume that that's the new reality they live in. So they go with it.
I fucking hate people that go into bars too, and they're like, "Can you turn down the music? We're trying to have a conversation." It's like
Like,
you're sitting in a
no.
fucking bar. Like if you're trying to have an intimate conversation, like don't go to like a sports bar. Like go to like a coffee shop or a nice Italian restaurant or like a place like that. That's like, where the expectation is to not be, loud and obnoxious and have like rap and rock music playing and fucking sports games on. Like,
Since you've
I don't know.
left, my I haven't had to endure sports. It's been great.
Hey, we have a guest. All
What's
right.
up?
Love the photo.
Hold on 1 second. Let me see. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
I
perfect.
can.
Hold on.
There he is.
Hey,
There
what's
we
going
go.
on,
Welcome.
man?
Welcome. Welcome. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Hold on. Let me just full screen this. All right. Now we're in business.
How we doing, brother?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
Doing
Doing
great, man.
good. This is my cousin Danny. I'm sure you guys have met probably in the
Yeah,
past,
I,
but
I feel like we've definitely seen each other in passing before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
so
First,
how's married life treating you?
married life is good, but first I wanted to start by saying one thing. You guys are living up to the name of the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because when I saw the flyer, I said, "Wow, it's pretty foolish that they have me billed as a mogul." But I
You
appreciate
are.
that though.
No, he made it a
You
point. He mentioned it earlier on that like I'm using the term Rogel. I'm sticking to it. He's in full support. So definitely
well,
deserve it, bro.
well, there's a reason I say that. Number one, you've been doing it for a long time. Obviously, you're not making $8 an hour, so that's a prerequisite for being a mogul at anything. And you own your own company, which I don't. So a lot of people don't. So I think you qualify.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. It gassed me up for a few days. I was like, all right.
That's it, dude. Feel free to use it on your business card.
All right. But
So let's.
mogul as per Pretty Foolish podcast. That's how
Yes,
that's what my
sir.
business card's gonna say.
You got it, my friend. So I gotta ask you, how long have you actually been? Because I remember you back in the day when we were in high school, and I remember you. I remember you from all the DJing days back in the local nightclubs,
Yeah.
Deep and Arena, and Palladium and all that stuff.
Yeah.
The good old days.
The
And
good
then
old
I
days.
know, was it like a hard transition? Did you like just go straight into the real estate thing, or did you do anything in between?
No, I did. I did quite a few things in between. So in high school and my early college, I really went full steam ahead with the Frankie Fane DJing, promotion, Westchester. So I really went full steam ahead with that. But then there came a point where it's like, all right, I have to start making some steady money.
Mm-hmm.
And then what I did was I got into mortgages actually first before real estate or anything like that. So I was doing mortgages in 2007. And then we all know what happened in 2007. So
Yeah.
what happened there was I was a mortgage broker, and the mortgage brokers were the first ones to start getting, cut down or looked at as if they were doing something wrong, as if we were the problems and why all these banks were offering these mortgages. So I decided, just to give you a quick, roundabout. So I said, if it's going to be hard for me to get deals done as a broker, then I'm just going to go work for a bank. So I went to apply for Chase, literally like 2 weeks after Lehman Brothers collapsed, and they were like, "We have probably 1,000 applicants in this area for mortgage loan officers at Chase. So if you want, we could start you as a personal banker, and then." If you want, we can start you as a personal banker, and then you can kind of graduate into the mortgage thing. So I became a personal banker at Chase, was, one of the people that ended up opening your checking account, and, the people that you'd complain to about overdraft fees and all that stuff.
Danny knows about that. He used to work for a banking company.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like they get you with the start here and we'll end your career there, and it doesn't always happen.
So I had to, I said, okay, so that's, that was cool. There was structure there now for the first time, pretty much for the first time in my life. There was somewhere that I had to, other than school, that I had to be at like 9 o'clock in the morning and leave at 5:30, 6 o'clock, work Saturdays, so on and so on. And then I said, I want more than this. So I became good friends with the financial advisor that was in the branch that sold the investments. And I got my licenses to be a financial advisor. So at that point, I ended up going to work for Chase in the city, doing that. A couple of years passed. And then, courses changed, and I got out of banking and then got back into real estate, got into real estate for the first time, because when I was doing mortgages, I wasn't licensed as a real estate agent. So I was working for a couple different companies, brokerages, and then decided to start my own. So there's a lot of things in between there. At some point before I was doing mortgages, I actually, I don't know if this is a hot take for this podcast or any podcast, but I actually
love hot takes. Talk to me.
I actually worked for Diddy for a little while.
Oh, yes.
So that's something we could circle back around to later.
Yes.
And I can tell you how I got into that. I don't know anything about what's going on or what we've seen, so we don't.
Disclaimer.
Yeah.
I wasn't that high enough where I was invited to the parties. So it was basically, I was just go put up flyers and go to radio stations and take new songs and this and that and the other. But anyway, all of that kind of led me into really taking on like the entrepreneurial spirit, which is kind of brings it back to how I started my own brokerage.
So for those who may not know, me being one of them, when you're a real estate agent, you are not a broker. How do you go from one to the other? Is there like a step process, or is it just basically based on like education or like?
So there's a couple different requirements. Number one is time. So you need to be an agent first. You have to have we're talking New York. So I'm talking about New York. You have to have 2 years as an agent before you can become a broker. Now there's ways to kind of get around that. Like, let's say you worked for a property management company for a year and you weren't licensed as an agent. You can use that experience to count towards your 2 years. So basically, in order for you to be a broker, you need 2 years of real estate experience, preferably as an agent. And on top of that, you need a certain amount of transactions. So when you go to apply for your broker license, they'll have you tally up points. How many rentals have you done? How many sales have you done? Commercial deals, blah, blah, blah. And all those points, once you get a certain amount of points, then you're able to apply for your broker's license, which again is another course and another exam as well.
What is when you start as like when you first you go through your courses, whether you do it online or in person, and you take your real estate test, are you a real estate agent upon graduation, or is it like a junior agent and an agent and then so on?
No, that's a good question. So as soon as you pass your test, you have to have 2 years as an agent. So basically what happens is you have to have 2 years as an agent. And then you have to have 2 years as a broker. And then you have to have 2 years as a broker. And then you have to have 2 years as a broker. And then you have to have 2 years as a broker. And then you have to have 2 years as a broker. And then you have to have 2 years as a broker. And then you have to have 2 years as a broker. And then you have to have 2 years as a broker. And then you have to have 2 years as a broker. And then you have to have 2 years as a broker. And then you have to have 2 years as a broker. And then you have to have 2 years as a broker. And then you have to have 2 years as a broker. And then you have to have 2 years as a broker. And then you have to have 2 years as a broker. And then you have to have 2 years as a broker. And then you have to have 2 years as a broker. And then you have to have 2 years as a broker. And then you have to have 2 years as a broker. And then you have to have 2 years as a broker. And then you have to have 2 years as a technically you are not licensed yet. You have the ability to get the license. Once you link up with a broker, basically once a broker hires you, that's when you become a licensed real estate salesperson, which is an agent. There's really no such thing as junior agent or senior agent. A licensed real estate salesperson is a salesperson. You're an agent. Now, somebody may put you on a team where you're kind of like, compensated as a junior person to the senior person on the team, but that's all your preference and who recruits you. So to answer your question, as soon as you're licensed and you start working with a broker, you're a real estate agent.
So question, because one of the things that I had done back in like 2019 was I actually took my real estate license exam for Jersey and I passed.
Yeah.
I found a broker, and then 2020 happened, and I was like, I'm not going to put this on hold. Like I wound up not pursuing it, but like obviously the big thing people learn in the process is the split, right? Negotiating the split, how long it takes to actually get a deal done. I've heard, first 100 days, like plan to float yourself for about 100 days. What was that like for you? Because I think from what you were saying about like your entrepreneurial journey, like most people don't realize that until you actually get that close, you're not getting paid. So
Yeah.
what was that like for you? Like, how did you kind of move through that process quicker to find success?
So for me, before I actually got my real estate license, I ended up working for a management company where I was doing their leasing. So I was unlicensed. You don't have to be licensed to work for a management company that handles a building. So I was doing their leasing. So I gained a lot of knowledge and experience in renting apartments for them. So for me, the transition into being a licensed salesperson, it wasn't that difficult of a transition because I went right into now renting apartments for other people.
Yeah.
So when you're renting apartments, I mean, you can get paid as quick as in 72 hours. But it's a hustle. It's a grind. There's tons of brokers and agents out there that all they do is rent apartments. So, I may call you and say, Dan, I see you have an apartment in your multifamily house. Can I come take pictures of it? You'll say, yes, I go take pictures. I post it. 2 days later, I bring you somebody and you may say, oh, I already got somebody. So now you're going back at it. But it's not always like that. It's a numbers game. If you find 5 apartments a week, you're going to rent one of them, and that could be with rents the way they are now. When I started, they weren't like this, but broker fees now are, $2,000 to $3,000.
Yeah.
So if you want to go directly into sales and you don't want to do apartments, you definitely need some type of either second income at home that you guys are kind of on the same page about, or or a little bit of a savings account, a float reserves to say, so, all right. And 100 days I think that's aggressive. I would say when I tell people, I say, look, probably 4 to 5 months, because the whole process of, number one, you gotta go out there and prospect for whether you're going to take a buyer out or a seller out or whatever. Houses, if they're priced right, they sell pretty quick these days, but the process is still 2 to 3 months. So we're talking maybe a month to find the deal, to make a deal happen, then 2 to 3 months in the actual process of the bank getting their stuff done, the buyer getting their stuff done, the seller. So you're at about 4 months before you get paid. And then the more important thing to do, which a lot of people don't realize, and obviously, the younger you are in this business, and when I was in the business, when I started the business, I wasn't married. As my wife now was my girlfriend then, and it was just the two of us. And it's not the responsibility of, okay, I just got a $10,000 check, let's go do a bunch of different things and not put money away. That's real. And I'm still trying to get better at that too. But a lot of people, you see a lot of agents, they close a deal and then they end up the next day, you'll see them on Facebook in South Beach or in, wherever, or, all of a sudden pull up in a new car. And then 2 months later, a deal that they thought they were going to close doesn't close. And now you're backed up. And I'm speaking from experience because it's maybe not the BMW, but it's happened to me, where deals you think nothing is guaranteed. So you have to kind of fall for it a couple times. And then you realize, all right, I need to always have things in the pipeline. So yeah, 4 to 5 months of reserves, and then just consistently getting, things in the pipeline.
I always wanted to try my hand at real estate. My wife tells me I'd be good at it. I don't know if she's being
I
just nice
told
to
you,
me.
I told you that.
I know you have too. I know you have
I
too.
think,
That
I
night
think
when I
that
saw
me
you,
and Frankie
we were
can agree
chatting.
on that. I think we've actually both now told you, because I've 100% said you should have done that.
Well, my problem is that I don't have patience. So I would probably do it for like a month and like I haven't sold anything, and I would quit because I'm used to the restaurant business where it's like a quick turnaround. It's like, boom, every single person's a paying customer. I'm good at that part. I'm good at the talking. I think I'd be good at presenting the apartment or the house and getting
Yeah.
someone to like me and be comfortable. But I think it's all the other stuff that I would just kind of, I don't know. It seems like it'd be fun. I mean, do you see yourself doing anything else, or is like
I mean, there's other things that I want to add to my business. Other services, maybe down the line, insurance and stuff like that, just to kind of, spread things, spread things out. But in terms of just sales, I've put myself in a place which is, some could say it's a bad thing, but some could say it's a good thing. But I put myself in a place where it's going to be hard for me to go, to go on LinkedIn and find a job and go work for somebody else, just because I've been doing what I'm doing for so long. And I enjoy what I'm doing. I enjoy the one thing that you do need is discipline, because there's no waking up at, nobody's calling you if you haven't gotten there at 9 o'clock, or if like you got to find your own motivation and your own discipline every day. And that's something that if you get that down, which is something me personally I'm still working on, you're unstoppable. And I have friends that are real estate agents that I'm like, wow, like I know how much they make because I can calculate it. I see it in our system how much they sell, and I'm like, geez, this is if I just wake up a little earlier every morning or something like that. But to answer your question, no, I can't see myself doing anything else. I mean, I've put myself in a situation where it's this, or end up going to DR and working in some all-inclusive resort, because that's the only other thing I would want to do, or something like that.
maybe put them together and own your own resort?
Hey, listen, that's something. I went out to DR a couple times a few years ago, and every time I go out there, I get approached by like different brokers because, I tell them, hey, I'm a broker in New York, and they always want to collaborate on new things that are being sold. It's just hard with something like that, it's hard to find a trustworthy, in a different country, somebody you trust. Right. They're building a house, or they're building all these condos, and then, you want to make sure that if I'm advising people to do something, that, my name's behind it, that it's going to go smooth.
What made you?
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
What made you decide to kind of step into the broker role? Because obviously, there's some people that prefer to be individual contributors. Being a broker on record, like it's a lot of responsibility, a lot of stress. Like, what made you take that step and decide, I want my own thing?
I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. This whole podcast, I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. Ego.
Yeah.
Ego, which you have to have in this business, but you can't have too much. So ego, and I told you I worked for Diddy. Like, I learned entrepreneurial, like, spirit from him, and I always said, okay, I want to be my own boss. I was throwing my own parties when I was 17, 18, 19 into early 20s, and I always just said I want to be my own person, my own boss. That sounds very nice. That sounds very good. Managing other people is a totally different thing. So you gotta know how to balance that. But just to be honest, I never wanted to work for other people. I want to work for myself. And the minute the opportunity came up and I met my requirements, I said, I'm going to do it.
So
honestly, I hate working for other people. I feel you. I hate it.
It's definitely interesting, but one thing I do want to ask is, like, obviously you have agents that work for you. Like, I run a sales team too. Like, what do you find is like some of the biggest challenges that you're seeing? Especially because like it's kind of like a weird thing because you're not paying them if they're not selling, but they're still on with you. So like you have to, like, there's a certain amount of like respect they have to have for your brand too. So like, what do you find are some of the biggest challenges running a team the way you are?
All right. So for me, it's keeping people. So because I'm a boutique company, the name of my company is the Pimentel Group. That's my last name.
Mhm.
Nobody's going to push that as hard as I'm going to push that.
Yeah.
You know? So for me, it's the hardest thing is reminding my agents and showing my agents that there's value in being in a boutique company, as opposed to why can't they just go to Compass or Keller Williams or one of the bigger name companies that are always recruiting them. So all these big houses, they recruit agents all the time. So they're calling my agents all the time. So the hardest part is just keeping that relationship and always making sure that I'm providing the value that they can get from working for me versus working for one of the bigger companies. And some of that is, I mean, you're literally dealing with the broker. And on their deals, they're taking me to listing agents with them. So, when we pitch listings, oh, this is the broker, this is the owner of the company. Some sellers like that, as opposed to with a lot of these bigger companies, you see your broker on a Zoom video with 1,000 other people. You never talk to them. But there's pros and cons. For me, the hardest part is to have people to make sure my agents consistently see my vision and kind of stay on brand with that.
So you said that obviously if you're just starting out, it's going to take you a while before you start seeing any money come in. Can anyone actually be successful doing real estate part-time, or not part-time, but having a second job to supplement that income? Like, let's say you're a single mom or a single guy or whatever, you don't have anywhere to go, maybe you don't have a way to live at home or something like that, or whatever it is to like hold you down while you're getting your bearings. Is that possible to have it be like your 1A job and be successful, or is it kind of like like being in the NFL or something like that, where you have to like dive head first? This has to be it. There's no practice on Sundays and go be a bartender on Mondays.
So it depends what success means to you. That's the cliche answer, but I'm going to give you an answer. Me personally, I don't think, in order for you, if you want to make a certain amount of money and you want to be a top real estate agent, I don't think you can do it part-time. Now, if you say part-time, as in you're working the real estate world during the day and then, you bartend at night, like that's
right. Yes.
But if you are a teacher by day and you're trying to do real estate evening and weekends, that's a little difficult. You're still going to be able to get deals done, but there's so much that goes on throughout the day, and in terms of prospecting and trying to make calls to people to see who wants to sell their house, doing all the marketing stuff, maintaining your deals that you currently have. I mean, the days go by quick. I can't imagine just doing it on nights and weekends. That's when your showings are, because you're usually showing houses when people are off of work, because people that are working are the ones buying houses. But during the day, there's a lot that still needs to be done in terms of prospecting. Can it happen? Yes. Do I hire people that are part-time, that have something to do during the day, but they're very flexible in evenings and weekends? Yes. What I have seen happen is, after a year or so and a couple deals under their belt, if they're still in it, they end up kind of phasing out of that first job, and making real estate a full-time thing. Is it a way to get your foot in the door if you need that kind of, like, you still need that steady income for a little while you get a couple deals under your belt? Yeah.
Right.
You're just going to have to put in that much extra time. But in the long term, I haven't seen successful part-time agents as a full-time. But to start off, yeah, you can kind of, you can do both while you're getting your name out there, while you're promoting yourself on social media, while you're, handing business cards to people. And who knows, whatever you're doing on your daytime job, start telling them that you're a real estate agent. And that's
That's what I always thought. I was like, you do the real estate like during the day, and then maybe have a bartending gig a couple of nights a week, and then like it's a good place to meet people, give out business cards.
Yeah.
Then it's easy to phase out a bartending job. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but even a bartending job, you're not gonna. I mean, because bartending is usually, after 7 o'clock or something, depending on the place.
Mhm.
So, if you're bartending on weekends at a restaurant, that's going to take away from the busy time of real estate. But yeah, you can manage both schedules. But what I normally see is people start to phase out that second job and really just go. So it goes one or two ways. You either phase out the second job, or you either say I haven't done a deal yet, and you just kind of your license expires in 2 years, and you just let it go.
Right.
So
when you say, sorry, Dan.
No, yeah, real quick, because I think this is a good segue for this. So if somebody like Mike came to you, right, and he's having a discussion with the Pimentel group, and you're trying to get him ready for like what to expect, because obviously the real estate atmosphere has changed, right? Like the interest rates are super high, like refi is pretty much dead in the water. Like a lot of it has changed, and a lot of people are like, you get one shot to like, shoot out what you're willing to spend on a house. So like it's changed. What would you give as advice to somebody that's new in the game right now on what to expect day to day compared to be like what was different from when you started?
So I'm not even going to back it up to when I started. I'll back it up like 3 years ago. So in terms of 3 years ago, literally you can, when I had new agents get hired, I on Zillow, there's something called Zillow Premier Agent, where you pay into it, and then whenever somebody goes looking for a house, they'll see your name in the zip code, and they'll call you and say, "Hey, I'm interested in the house at 123 Main Street." You pick up the call, you show them the house. Now that's your client. You continue working with them, and you sell a house. Now it's a lot more difficult in terms of the amount of inventory, the amount of buyers that fell out of the market because of interest rates. So now it's more somebody. You really have to make yourself position yourself as like that person, and follow up, because now in this world there's everything is instantaneous. You go on Instagram, you scroll, you see a realtor, you probably see realtors just all the time. If you're not following up with somebody, they are they're moving on to another agent. And I've lost deals like that where I told somebody I'd get back to them the next day. I ended up getting back to them 2 days later, and they found somebody else on a $900,000 house, which is almost a $20,000 commission. So somebody new starting, if Mike came to me and said, look, I want to be an agent, I would say, obviously either have your reserves or have your second income. Plan your time wisely. If you're doing a bartending job, you work in the restaurants in a certain time of night or days or whatever other time you're not, schedule your real estate time and schedule your work that you're going to be making phone calls, that you're going to be doing the prospecting, that you're going to be doing your follow-ups. A lot of people have the misconception, and this is where I see a lot of people fail, where new agents especially, where they ask, why'd you get into real estate? And number one, to make money. You can make a lot of money. Number two, the free time. That's the part that people treat real estate as a free time job. And when you do that, you're never going to schedule time to do your work. The most successful real estate agents, they're scheduled. Like they're like 9 to 5 people, even though nobody's holding them accountable for it. They're not clocking in. They're not, having to call out sick. But the most successful real estate agents are scheduled. So it's not a free time job. So that's the most important thing I would say to a new agent. If you have a part-time job, fine. Just make sure you schedule your real estate work as if, your boss was scheduling your part-time job. And if you do that, if you put the hours into it, if you put the hours into real estate that you sit behind the bar, or that you're driving a bus or doing something else or driving Uber or whatever, if you put that time into it and you're the least bit personable, you'll be fine. Homes, and this is probably a hot take for some agents who may hear this, you really don't have to walk into a house with a buyer and sell them the house. The homes sell themselves. You just have to you sell yourself. You're selling why that person should be working with you, why that seller should be selling their house, listing their house for you to sell. So as long as your schedule, timing, respect the work, meaning respect the hours you put into it. I think a lot of people that I know can be successful doing this.
I feel like a lot of people think it's a free time job, like you said, because the other thing you said, it's not like you're clocking in or anyone's like on your back about it. So I think people like think it's like a sit at home, work from home with your laptop and kind of like fuck off on it because there's no boss, there's no manager like micromanaging you.
Yeah.
And you're right, it's probably where a lot of people get messed up. Two questions. They're probably going to sound stupid because I'm not the sharpest knife in the box with certain things, but we'll say when you say prospecting,
Yeah.
is that like a cold calling thing where it's like you kind of have like these files at your disposal that will tell you in your area who owns a house, like it's like a list of like deeds or whatever, and you call them up and say, "Hey, Mr. Pimentel, I see you live at 17 Main Street. You got a 3-family house, interested in renting any of them out?" Is it like that? Or is it like a door-to-door kind of thing? Like, how do you go about the prospecting part of it?
It's really about what you're comfortable with. If you're a person that wants to go out knocking on doors and you're comfortable face to face, and you think you're a better person face to face, then yeah, you can go knock on doors. But realistically, you're going to get a lot more prospecting done by the phone than knocking on doors, just because of timing. So the phone calls are different. They're we have access to leads. When I say we, I mean all realtors and brokerages. We all have access to the same information. Some you pay for, and some you kind of can get for free. For example, somebody has a house for sale today. Usually realtors have contracts for 6 months. Some have 3-month contracts, 6-month contracts to sell a house. A lot of those times they expire. Even the agent, wasn't really doing work in the house properly, or B, maybe it was overpriced. So when those leads expire, that's a phone call you make. We know when the leads expire, when the listings expire. So we call, we say, "Hey, Mike, I see you living at 123 Main Street. Were you trying to, I noticed you were trying to sell your house, but the listing just expired. Are you still working with that same agent? What did you like about the agent? What didn't you like?" And then you take the phone call from there. That's one phone call. Another phone call could be, "Hey, Mike, I know you own the house at 123 Main Street. There's a house that just sold down the block from you at 547 Main Street, and it's sold for above asking. Are you interested? Have you been thinking about selling your house? You want me to give you an idea of what the home is worth?" And you're going to make 100 calls to get maybe 15 actual conversations. And out of those 15 conversations, maybe 5 will end up becoming presentations, and then you get 2 listings. That's not a bad, that's not a bad thing. The rest of those conversations that didn't turn into listings, they just end up becoming, "Hey, touch base with me in a year," or, to whatever. And then you just kind of, people who are in this for the long term, you have a system where you put this in your database, and to follow back up. But if you're good on the phones, if you're good talking to people and not sounding salesy, because nobody wants to be sold on the phone, that's what the prospecting is about.
My other stupid question. We were talking about you see a lot of real estate agents on Instagram.
Yeah.
I would say 99% of these people are women that look like OnlyFans models. Is that like a gimmick or is there any like pertinence to like these women doing this? Like, because sometimes I look at it, I wonder if it's just like a kink. Like, I'm this hot chick and I do real estate. It's like bullshit. Like, how do they all look like Kim Kardashian? I don't understand. Like, do you run into that in the real world, or is that all just Instagram nonsense?
I mean, I see it on Instagram. I don't know how many of them I actually see doing business, bumping into them in the real world. But I see it on Instagram. And it's just, look, people use Instagram with what they're good
Right.
at, you know. So if you lead with your looks, then you know, exploit that.
Right.
'Cause
Is that a real advantage though? I mean,
well, it could be an advantage and a disadvantage. I could tell you one thing: it's probably a disadvantage if there's a couple like me and my wife trying to buy a house.
right.
The female real estate agent looks like you know, like an OnlyFans model. That's probably not going to fly over too well with, you know, the communication between us and everything. But it's some people. Obviously, there's very good looking real estate agents that are tasteful in how they promote themselves, and there's some that aren't. And you know, I believe just like anything else, it's there's fads, and there's the people that are providing actual value and content on Instagram are the ones that I think are doing the business. The people that are leading with looks and, you know, not to knock anybody, but, you know, real estate by day, actress by night,
Right.
you know, link in my bio, traveling all over the place every other week. I just don't see how you have the time, which goes back to the beginning of this conversation, to do real estate properly. But
That's why I wanted to ask, because every time I've ever met like a woman retailer, like realtor, they're always like older women or like, well, now that we're getting to be older people, I guess like our age now, I never see in real life any of these people I see on Instagram. And I was like, you go to like conventions and stuff with like, so I was just curious if that's just like bullshit. Like,
they're working. They're trying to get things done out there, and you know, I can't say that I see it more on Instagram than I do in person. So, you know, that may just mean that, you know,
They're
maybe,
probably just
huh?
they could just be doing like leasing properties for like buildings. Like I live in Edgewater and there's a ton of like
Oh yeah,
big properties. They probably just work in the leasing office and just put real estate.
yeah.
So
Or no, they get their licenses. You get your license, and you know, you try to pick up a couple deals here and there. But I'm not sure that they're, you know, big time you know, agents. Some are, some aren't. You know, listen, if I looked good enough to be on OnlyFans, I'd be putting that out there myself too. Why not
I mean,
lead with your looks?
so Dan, it's safe to say if we both get hired by Keller Williams, it will not look like all 12 months of the Playboy calendar.
I don't want anybody guessing which one of
Fucking
us
dream
is
is shot.
pretty, which one of us is foolish. So you know what
Yeah,
I'm
well, I
saying?
mean, listen, I think it's a valid question. I mean, so all right,
Yeah.
commercial real estate.
Yeah.
Is that something you can go straight into, or is it better to start with like personal real estate, like houses, apartments?
Residential. Two
Yeah,
two totally
residential. Yes.
two totally different things. Two totally different things. And usually realtors that I dabbled a little bit in commercial, but then I realized that my personality and being more of a people person and building relationships with people and families, and honestly, I'm Hispanic. I speak Spanish. There's a big percentage of the population of Spanish people that only trust other Spanish people because we speak the same language. So, you know, I just started making money that way and kept leading with it. Commercial real estate is its own different animal. Most people that do commercial only do commercial.
Right.
Most people that do residential only do residential. I do a little bit of both. Like we're negotiating a commercial lease for somebody right now, one of my agents. But you can go right into commercial. Most people that are in commercial went right into commercial. Actually, to be honest with you, if you're interested in commercial, it probably hurts you coming from the residential side because
Really?
commercial people look at residential people as like big brother, little brother. So
I mean, my uncle has a friend who lives in Purchase, and they're a husband and wife team, and they do commercial real estate. Dude, their house, they have a 10-car garage.
Listen,
Like, it's insane. It looks like the house that's behind me, Tony Stark's house. Like it's in Purchase. It's fucking wild.
yeah, no, commercial is good. Now those commissions can be $100,000 in one shot, $200,000 in one shot, but those deals can take a year or two to close.
Isn't
Right.
it like percentage of lease term in most cases? It is, right?
Yep. So it's a percentage of the total lease value. So let's say let's say you're leasing office building in Manhattan, and it's, I don't know, 50,000 square feet or something like that, and it's $50,000 a month or $40,000 a month, and you're doing a 10, 15-year lease, that's a percentage of the whole time.
Wow.
So there's a lot of money to be made in commercial. Usually commercial brokers they're in teams with, other commercial agents and brokers also. So those checks are split, split amongst a bunch of different people. But commercial is a different world. That's a lot
Do you
of
need a separate license?
no, the same license. Now, since we're talking about, I just mentioned 100,000, 200,000 commission. Another thing that I see a lot of agents is the misconception because of these reality shows of $1 Million Listing, and every time they show a house or Ryan Serhant in one of these houses working a deal, it says potential commission, $200,000 or $100,000, and a lot of agents want to become agents because of that show. And then they realize, wait, I only made 10,000 on this house or 20,000 on this house or 7,000 on this house. And they kind of get like, discouraged, thinking like, oh, these guys are making a lot of money. How come I'm not making a lot of money? So that's another way I see a lot of, especially young realtors, because that's what they see on TV. And they think that if you're not making that, you're not doing well, which is not true. There's a lot of agents that close, 50 deals a year at 10,000 a pop, that's $500,000 a year.
I mean, listen, coming from, the restaurant industry, even if I was making like $5,000 or $7,000 a deal, that's still more than you see, because commission is a tip, basically. It's not the same thing, but you can find like the common ground between them. And it's like, I'd be cool with 7,000. Yes, would I like to have a 200,000 one? Absolutely. But I wouldn't turn my nose up at 7,000. Speaking of commission, though, I remember we talked about this briefly yesterday. 6% commission on buying or selling a home. Realtors Association agrees on a settlement. That's no longer a thing. Like, what is up with that?
So that's something I've been getting a lot of in the last couple of weeks. So just to kind of sum that up, somewhere in the country, everybody had the understanding or thought that commissions were always 6% everywhere, and that all of us realtor groups colluded to charge 6%, which wasn't true. And to be honest, here in Westchester, 6% commission hasn't been a thing for a long time. Most of the commissions here are 4%, 5%. So what's gonna happen was normally, if you're selling a home, I say to you, all right, Mike, I'm charging you 4% commission. Out of my 4%, I'm going to give Dan, who's a buyer's broker, 2% of my 4%. So now what they're saying is, well, why does the seller have to pay the buyer's broker? Let the buyer pay their own agent. Which realistically, if you have buyers buying first-time home properties, first-time homes for 3.5% down, do they have 2% to pay their own agent? They're just going to end up going directly to me, the seller's agent, which is not good for, buyers should have their own representation, their own person negotiating for them. Because realistically, if I'm working for you, the seller, my first fiduciary responsibility is to get you the best price, not to negotiate the best price for the buyer. So there's a lot of different things that have been going on in the news, and how this is going to shake up the real estate industry. All it's going to do is just change the way that we have to disclose things. The real agents who know collaborating is the best are still going to offer the commission to the buyer's agent and explain it to the seller and say, hey, listen, you can only pay me 2% if that's all you want to pay. But then you're limiting yourself to my buyer pool, as opposed to if you pay 4%, out of that 4, I offer somebody else 2. Now you're opening it up to every broker in the area has access to show your house, which in turn sells the house faster. So I don't believe the 6% commission thing is there's still people that are going to charge 6%. I think there's been a lot of headlines and a lot of people getting out there just to make headlines, and even the president has mentioned it, and not all the information that's out there is correct coming from the real estate world. There's going to be changes on the way we have to disclose things and present things, but I don't think there's going to be any much changes on it being less expensive for the buyer to buy a home now. If anything, it's going to hurt the buyer because now the buyer's got to pay his own agent, or go through the seller, which still going to hurt the buyer because now you have nobody negotiating for you.
Any tips you have for someone looking to buy a house for the first time, or sell a house for the first time?
Buy a house for the first time. Make sure you're working with someone in terms of your bank, pre-approve for your pre-approval. Know exactly how much you're pre-approved for, and more importantly, know exactly how much you're comfortable spending on a monthly basis. Because the bank can say you're pre-approved for XYZ, but you know what your budget is. And do your research. Do your research in terms of area, in terms of what there's a ton of information now that people didn't have back in the day in terms of YouTube. Like literally, if there's something I don't know, you just YouTube it, how to find a good home inspector. Yes, I have people I recommend, but a lot of times you want to make sure that there's not, you can't really trust a lot of people. And, some agents are recommending people who they know, benefit them a little more. So, make sure you kind of do a little bit of your research. Don't go into it blindly. Am I going to say this is the right time to buy a house? That's what every real estate agent is saying on Instagram all the time. Do I think there's a good time? Do I think there's a bad time? I think it's all depending on what your time is, and the person. Everybody's different. For some people, it may be good. For some people, it may not be good. In terms of selling a house, if you're selling now, kind of be smart about why you're selling. Are you selling just because you want a different area? Are you selling because if you're selling a house now, more than likely you have an interest rate in the, 3s or 4s or something like that. And you're going to end up buying something where your interest rate is in the 7s. So if you're thinking of selling your house, kind of, see if there's something you can do to stay in your house. And this is not popular opinion by realtors because we make money by people selling the house. But realistically, maybe it's cheaper to put an extension on your house than it is to move into a bigger house because of the way the interest rates are. It all depends. So and talk to a couple different people, speak to a few different realtors. Everybody's trying to say everything that they can to get business, and yes, I would like for somebody to speak to me and me only. So I know I get the business, but realistically speak to a couple different people. So who are you going to feel that's not selling you? Who are you going to feel that you actually have a relationship with? I have clients that invite me to their barbecues, their baptisms, their retirement parties, because we maintain that relationship, and it's not a transaction.
That's important.
It's
very important.
Yeah, exactly.
Overall, so I read a fact, and you could tell me if you could prove it or disprove it, but basically it says that in the 50 densest cities in the US right now, it's officially cheaper to rent than to buy.
I saw that I think I saw something like that on Facebook.
Yeah. Would you say that's more aligned with truth? Is that really how it's looking? Are we moving more to a renters society? Because it seems like a lot of bigger companies are buying up a lot of property right now.
Yeah. So, I mean, and there's rentals going up. You're in Edgewater. I'm sure you see a new building going up almost every other week.
It's funny when I was shopping because we're actually moving next week. But it's weird how it works here. 1 and 2 bedrooms are basically the same, and the price changes every day. Yeah. So I can walk somewhere, it's $3,700 for a 2-bedroom. The next day it's $4,300. Before 4,000 was our average for a 2-bedroom.
Yeah. No, that's a different type of you take that into account in terms of rent also, but let's bring it here to Yonkers. Where you don't have the water views, the amenities, and a lot of this stuff. I mean, we do have buildings like that, but just regular rent. I mean, a 2-bedroom is $23,000 to $2,500. And you're talking about a 2-bedroom, no amenities, no washer dryer, probably no parking. But with the interest rates the way that they are now, and the home prices. See, the problem is home prices didn't go down when interest rates went up. So the home prices are still expensive and the rates are still expensive. So yeah, on a 3-bedroom house, nothing crazy, nothing fancy, $600,000 house. I mean, if you're a first-time home buyer putting 3.5% down, now you're paying mortgage insurance. I mean, your mortgage is over $4,000.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cheaper to rent a 3-bedroom apartment here in Yonkers for $3,500. How long is that going to last? I mean, I'm not sure, but I think, I mean, rents are crazy also. But yeah, I mean, I have seen situations where it is cheaper to rent. Now, obviously, the $4,000 that you're paying in a mortgage, some of it is going towards equity, but so I'm not one of those real estate agents that always say, "Oh, tired of renting, stop renting, stop paying your landlord." Some people renting is it's better for their lifestyle, and it's better, to pick up and move to, if you have the amenities, if you don't want to deal with, boilers, furnaces, roofs, leaks, this, that, the other.
Lawn care,
shoveling, all that stuff. You want to just walk out of your building or have a gym in your building, then that's good for you also.
how hard is it for someone with poor or rebuilding credit to get a house? Is it more in line like the way it is with a car, where yeah, you're gonna pay more. They'd prefer you to have tier one credit, you'll pay more, or is it like a flat out like, nah, dude, like you have a 560 credit score, you're beat.
So there's a couple different aspects there, and it's funny that you mentioned about car, because I feel like the car industry is the one that people need to be coming after with class action lawsuits, because
Oh, it's bullshit.
none of
Yeah,
that shit is transparent.
their interest rate is variable. It's whatever they want it to be, not whatever it actually is.
And the price of a Jeep Grand Cherokee on Central Avenue in Yonkers could be totally different than the price of a Jeep Grand Cherokee in the Bronx, which is crazy. The house is going to be the house. The price is the price of a house. Now,
Right.
I have seen people do it's the score of your credit score is very important, but what's more important is your debt to income ratio. So it's more about what kind of debt you have. If you have a 560 credit score with basically no debt and maybe a couple $1,000s in credit cards, and you can make things to pay that, your score will jump up. And the bank, I could see a bank doing a loan at 580, things like that. Now, you're going to be paying a higher interest rate because, yes, they do prefer the 687, 720 credit scores, but it can get done. Now, you can be somebody with 700 credit score with $50,000 in student loans and a $900 a month car payment, and you may not. The person with the 580 credit score may get approved easier than you, because
Really?
it's more about the debt to income. If you have $10,000 a month in monthly payments versus the person with the 580 credit score only has $1,000 a month in monthly payments, with both people having the same income, the bank is it's going to be easier to approve the 580, or per se, it's going to be easier for that 580 person to get his score up to where it should be, as opposed to the person with the 10,000 monthly payments. I see this all the time. People have $1,500 car payments, and I'm like, man, why? Like, own a house first, because that's hurting.
Right.
That's counted into you could be on time all the time. You could be paying early, but that car payment hurts it's called the debt to income ratio, which is what the banks they want to make sure that your income can cover all your debts, including the new mortgage.
Speaking of the car thing,
to answer your question really quick, you can get a mortgage done at 580 credit. It depends why the credit is where it's at. There's different factors, so it's not just a hard no. Like when you're going for a car, your score is whatever they tell you. They never even show you. They just say it, and then they classify you as whatever class, and you can't get it done. But with a house, it's a little different. A good mortgage broker or a good mortgage banker can figure out how to make things happen. If not immediately, can figure out how to, put a plan together so that you're able to get it done.
Speaking about the car industry, do really quick. So back in 2018, I almost got a Lexus IS, F Sport, whatever the case was. I remember no money down. Guy was offering $412 a month. The reason why we didn't get the deal done was because the guy at the dealership turned out to be a flake, stopped answering emails, couldn't lock down a date to come see him. I wound up getting something else. Out of curiosity, me and the wife now are looking for a second car. I was like, you know what? There's a Lexus dealership not too far from my house. I was like, let me just take a look and see if they have anything on the certified pre-owned, right?
Yeah.
Same exact car, non-F Sport. This is a base model now.
Yeah.
2018 Lexus IS, 54,000 miles on it.
Yeah.
To finance it with no money down, $630 a month. How the fuck is it $215 more a month when it's before, when it was brand new, a lease, it was $412, and now to own it with 55,000 miles on it basically is almost $200 more. And the guy was like, because the interest rate is close to 11%
I don't
to
know.
finance it, a used car.
Yeah.
That is why.
I think you guys should get. I think you guys should get somebody on that used to be in the car business that's no longer in the car business, that's willing to like give all the ins and outs. Huh?
I'm dying for that.
Yeah, to all the dirt and how to negotiate and what to ask, and like somebody who's really doesn't care anymore is going to spill all the beads, because that's miserable shopping for a car, man.
Dude, it's bullshit. I spoke to one guy and he gave me a quote on a car. It was like $687 a month, which obviously you're not paying that. And I was like, all right, man, like that's cool. Like I was, I guess, I got some things to do. I said, if I, whatever, if you hear any better deals, call me. Dude emailed me back an hour later with $100 less a month with no extra money down. So it's nonsense when he dropped the price $100 a month for nothing. I wasn't putting any more money down or anything. It was just, I told him I'm good. Yeah. So you're right. It's nonsense. Do you ever feel like people treat you like a car dealer when they initially like try to hire you?
Honestly, no. Just because dude, you see me out like I'm showing houses in in a t-shirt. I'm very casual and presentable. I'm down to business when it's time to get down to business, but I don't think people see me as a like a salesperson or a car salesperson. I walk into a house showing a house, and I let you kind of show yourself. I mean, not show yourself around, but I let you gather your thoughts.
Take the lead.
Yeah. I'm not following behind you, pushing and look at this, look at that, look at this. What do you guys think? So what do you think? Oh, you got to put an offer now. I've been around agents like that, and I'm like, oh, it's a little cringe. It's just not my personality. I always. Go ahead.
No. I was gonna say, someone gave me that advice once when I was shopping for a car, and they said that if you get the salesperson that's got the gold watches and the fancy suit, they were like, they're looking to take you for a ride, and it's the guy, like you said, polo shirt, kind of relaxed, like. That's the person that you could probably trust more. The other guy is trying to show you how good he is at this job. It's all about him. It's nothing about you. And I'm glad you mentioned that, the casual part about it, because that probably does put a lot of people's minds at ease, like when they meet you.
Yeah. I mean, listen, if I'm meeting somebody for the first time that wants to sell their house, I'm not showing up in a t-shirt. But it's I feel like a lot of the people that I do business with that know me kind of know what to you'll have me show up in a suit one day, you'll have me show up in a t-shirt the next day. That's just I match, I want you to feel comfortable with who you're dealing with. I'm not selling you, I'm not a used car sales guy. I don't need to act as if it's a transaction. Now I respect the profession. I'm not,
right. No, of course.
Crazy, but it's a transaction.
All right, so
two quick things. We got here Yankee fans or Met fans. Who am I talking to?
mean,
You know this, baby. You know this.
it's definitely Yankee fans. I've heard some miserable stats about the Mets this year.
Oh,
But
they're fucking. Well, that's actually the two things I wanted to ask you before we let you go. What do you think the Jets are going to do this year? And
I mean, they might have a quarterback that's vice president. You never know. I mean, they can go
oh
anywhere
god,
now.
I think he shot that down already. But
oh he did.
listen, every year I do the same thing, man. I get tickets to go to opening day at MetLife Stadium, and I'm all like, all right, this is our year. Especially last year, we were there, my wife and I, a big group, and I got her all bought into like Jets football now. I had her watching all the Aaron Rodgers pre stuff, like like she's bought in, and then 4 plays in, he's out for the season. So I have no idea what's gonna. I feel like I'm falling for it again, but I don't want to fall for it. But I'm like, all right, maybe this is our year. If he stays healthy, I mean, they're a good team on paper.
I mean, 41 years old, and the ACL injury is rough. I mean, it's rough an ACL injury when you're 25.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I just feel like if I don't see this now, if I don't see some type of like, conference championship now, or I'm not even asking for Super Bowl, but if I don't see that now, I don't know when I'm going to see that, because all these young players, they're going to start wanting to get paid, and I don't know when the next quarterback is coming.
yeah, Juan Soto might be. I mean, he is the real deal. I hope the Yankees can figure out a way to hold on to him. I mean,
Yeah.
If the Yankees pitching holds up, I think we have a good shot at least the league champion. The American League Championship. I don't know about the World Series because it's all pitching and Cole is all fucked up. But I mean, I think we have a good shot.
So
Last thing,
I'm a Yankee. I don't know if this is allowed, but I actually like both New York teams.
some people will tell you it's not allowed. I don't have a problem with it. It's just as long as you have a preference.
If the Yankees fell out and the Mets are still going, then root for the Mets. I think there's certain allowability. There's certain like restrictions that
I'll root for the Mets if they're playing the Astros or the Red Sox.
The way I feel is that, especially since we're in New York and we have two teams, like that gives me two people to root for every day. Now, when they're playing against each other, it depends where they are in the year and in the standings. If they were playing each other today, I'd go Mets just to because the Yankees are already doing so well, they could take a loss. But if they're playing each other in the World Series, I'm probably going to go Mets just because I haven't seen it in a long time. So we could circle back once we get closer and see where we're
at. The house behind me, if that was a real house, what do you think you would value it at?
Oh, I don't know, man. This looks.
It's in Malibu.
Malibu.
Yeah.
You know what house that is, right?
It's Tony Stark's house.
But you know the actual address?
No.
You can Google it. Probably find like where it was filmed, or Google it and find out the valuation on Zillow. I don't know. 8.5 Malibu, 17 million. I have no idea. What do you think?
He said 14. I had no guess, whatever. But I mean, it's overlooking a mountain. I mean, it's been destroyed twice by two different villains. So I mean,
I feel like you got to look.
Is it a real house that was just filmed?
I don't know.
No,
it might be CGI. I have no idea. It's just really fucking cool.
Oh, okay, all right. If it was a real house, then we could do deep dive into where. That's another thing we should do. If you guys bring me back on, we'll absolutely. Do like. I'm very into like houses where things were filmed at.
Okay, definitely.
You guys do a lot of movie stuff here too, so I'll put some stuff together and. I like that whole thing. The houses where things were filmed at, and how much are they worth, and who owns it.
Let's work that out. That sounds like a lot of fun.
We've all been trying to figure out what Kevin McAllister's dad did in Home Alone to afford that. Like that's been the movie trivia of all time. Like,
got to find out how much you need to make in order to get pre-approved for that right now.
Bro, that is the benchmark for white privilege. That house. That's like the threshold of when you like really know you have it. Yeah. Please say hello to your wife. You know how long I know your wife? I know your wife for 35 years.
I know.
Since preschool.
Yeah.
And her sister, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. No, she tells me, she's always like, oh yeah. And didn't you take her to her first strip club or something like that? Isn't that like
We did.
Oh, you
We
both?
did. We did,
Oh,
yes.
oh, okay.
Yeah. And we were only 19, so we had to sit
Oh,
at
I know.
Sue's
Yeah,
Rendezvous, and we had to sit in the under 21, so we couldn't be too up close.
Oh, yeah,
But Frank, it's been an absolute pleasure. We will definitely be talking again soon because I know the three of us can come up with some good movie locations that'll be a lot of fun to bullshit about.
Yeah.
Hug and kiss the wife and her sister for both of us. We miss you guys. You know,
I will. Guys, thank you for having me on. I look forward
always
to
a pleasure, my friend.
And we'll talk. Have a
Thanks,
good
man.
enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
Appreciate
You
it.
too.
Take care. Bye.
Guys, that was the legendary Frankie Fame. That's how I know him. Frankie Fame.
Mr.
DJ
Mobley.
extraordinaire. Oh yeah. He's seen me outside of a club or two, not in best shape in my day.
You're rarely in good shape after. But my man, it's been a phenomenal Sunday. I'm
It has
gonna
been.
take care of yourselves and each other. I'm off to celebrate my pops' birthday.
Happy birthday, Uncle Mike.
You enjoy yourself, my man.
Be good.
Hi, brother.